Mr. McLeod,
Contempt for what?
Mr. McLeod, two things are going to happen. You're going to answer my question, or you're going to jail for summary contempt for not complying with the court's request. Do you, Mr. McLeod, understand that the maximum penalty for the charge against you is 3 years in prison and or $1,000 fine?
I don't understand the charges.
Mr. McLeod is in contempt of court taken into custody.
Really?
This hearing is pure chaos from start to finish. Mr. McLeod, who is charged with assaulting a police officer, tries to argue that the court has no authority over him, pulling the classic sovereign citizen card. He interrupts, yells, and throws out a bunch of fake legal terms, but the judge isn't having any of it. Every time he tries to assert his nonsense, the judge shuts him down without hesitation. Things get very heated, and by the end, the judge has no choice but to put him in a jail cell for the night. This hearing is both frustrating and hilarious to watch. McLeod is so confident in his nonsense, only to be completely dismantled by the legal system in real time. If you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It really helps out. Now, let's jump right in.
Do you understand your right to a lawyer, including a court-appointed lawyer?
I understand that.
Okay. And do you wish to represent yourself instead of having an attorney?
Yeah, I'm here by special appearance, and I will be representing myself.
Okay. I'm required by law, before I accept that waiver, to do a couple things. One, advise you of the maximum penalties that you could face for the charges that you're in my court for. Resisting, obstructing conservation officers is a high court misdemeanor punishable by up to 2 years in prison and or $1,000 fine. There's a habitual offender second notice that's been filed by the prosecutor, which would make that a felony punishable by up to 3 years and or $1,000 fine. And marine safety operating while intoxicated is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 93 days and or a $100 to $500 fine. Do you understand the maximum penalty for the charges against you?
Well, I don't even really understand why I'm here, honestly.
Pay close attention to how calm and composed this judge remains throughout the hearing, even as Mr. McLeod continuously interrupts, argues, and spouts nonsense. It's almost impressive how much patience he shows, giving McLeod every opportunity to get his act together, despite the fact that he keeps pretending not to understand even the most basic legal concepts. The judge shuts down his fake legal jargon time and time again, yet McLeod just doubles down, refusing to acknowledge reality. At this point, you have to wonder, is this guy actually delusional, or is he just putting on an act to dodge responsibility? Let me know what you think in the comments.
Well, okay. Well, that's fine. Do you understand the maximum penalty that I just explained to you?
No.
Hold on. I can't let you represent yourself until I establish a couple things.
Well, I need to establish a couple things too, honestly.
Hold on. Well, I can't let you represent yourself until I establish a couple things, or I'm going to be in trouble.
Okay.
Do you understand that the maximum penalty that you could face for the charges that you're here for is up to 3 years in prison and or a $1,000 fine?
I don't understand the nature and cause of the action against me. So
what is it that you don't understand? Do you not understand how long 3 years is, or how much the fine is that I've articulated? Can you tell me what it is you don't understand?
The nature and cause of the action against me because there's no established jurisdiction.
That's not what I'm asking you right now. Well, I'll let you place whatever objections you want on the record, Mr. McLeod. I promise you that. Okay. Can we just go one step at a time? So do you understand the maximum penalty that you could face if you're convicted as charged? 3 years in prison or $1,000 fine?
Well, I have another question because the statutory jurisdiction doesn't exist under the Constitution. So in order for me to defend myself, could you please tell me where the published rules of conduct are for criminal statutory jurisdiction, or where I can find the nature and cause of this jurisdiction, or how this information exists?
No, I don't even understand what you're asking.
So you're saying this is a statutory jurisdiction under what? The statutes of Michigan, correct?
Mr. McLeod, I've told you what my jurisdiction is.
General jurisdiction.
The people of the state of Michigan voted to convene a constitutional convention in 1961.
Sure.
There was a constitutional convention in 1961 and 1962. They proposed a state constitution. The voters of the state of Michigan ratified that in 1963. Article 6 establishes the judicial power. And the circuit court is a court under that judicial power of Article 6 of the state constitution. And so you're here in my court. I have subject matter jurisdiction over those crimes. I have personal jurisdiction over you because you've been alleged to have committed them in our county. That's my jurisdiction. So, Mr. McLeod, you want to represent yourself? Do you understand the maximum penalty that you could face of 3 years in prison and or $1,000 fine?
One second.
I can see why his attorney withdrew. Oh, shit.
Hang on, someone in the prosecutor's office is not muted. I'm going to remove you from the meeting at this time.
Oh,
Prosecutor's office is generally allowed to attend to observe. They've participated. I'm removing them from the hearing.
Honestly, she's not wrong at all. This was such a raw, unfiltered moment that you can't help but laugh. And really, I have no idea how the judge managed to keep a straight face. Seriously though, how does something like this even happen in a courtroom? Maybe she was just an older lady caught up in the absurdity of it all. But either way, her reaction perfectly summed up what everyone in the room was thinking about this guy. And let's be real, it makes total sense why his attorney withdrew from the case. Mr. McLeod is just sitting there, flipping through his little pile of papers, desperately searching for some made-up legal loophole that he thinks will magically get him off the hook. He genuinely looks like he believes he's about to pull off the legal equivalent of a magic trick, while the judge, the prosecutor, and probably everyone else in that courtroom already know exactly how this is going to end. But McLeod? He just keeps going, acting like he's cracked the code of the legal system, when in reality, he's only digging himself into a deeper hole. You really have to wonder what sovereign citizens actually think is going to happen. Do they seriously believe the judge is just going to stand up one day and say, "You know what? You're right. Case dismissed." It's like watching someone try to win a game they don't even understand the rules to. And by the end of it, the prosecutor's little comment is just the perfect cherry on top, because let's be honest, if you were in her position, you'd probably be thinking the exact same thing. What's even crazier is how committed these sovereign citizens are to their nonsense. Just like McLeod, shuffling through his stack of papers, quoting fake laws, and believing he's onto something. It's ridiculous, frustrating, and absolutely entertaining to watch. But enough talking, let's dive back in.
Mr. McLeod, do you understand the maximum penalty that you could face?
1 second. Okay, so in enforcement of mere statutes, judges of all courts do not act judicially and are thus are not protected and qualified by limited immunity. That's Owen versus the city. I just want to state a few things for the record since you're claiming this is a jurisdiction under statutory law.
Hang on. Mr. McLeod, can we back it? Look at me for a second. Can we talk here?
I challenged subject matter jurisdiction and nothing can go forward until that's addressed. You're saying
I did address it and I denied your objection. I have subject matter
doesn't
jurisdiction.
exist under the Constitution.
Your objection is noted. All right. So, Mr. McLeod, do you understand? Let me explain to you.
Sure.
Sometimes, as I said, people might want to represent themselves, but let's say they have limited intellectual capacity and they don't understand what's.
You can really tell the judge is just done with this guy's nonsense at this point. It's not even savage, it's just straight up facts. You've got McLeod fumbling through his stack of papers, quoting made-up laws like he's about to unlock some hidden courtroom cheat code, while the judge calmly shuts him down with the most professional, effortless roasting imaginable. And honestly, you have to respect it. He's calling it exactly how it is without even breaking a sweat. Moments like this are just a reminder that, at the end of the day, the judge is always the ultimate authority in the room.
They have to establish that they know what's going on before I can allow them to represent themselves. I'm required to establish, do you comprehend, do you know the maximum penalty that you could face if you're convicted as a result of this charge? 3 years in prison or $1,000 fine. Do you understand that, Mr. McLeod?
So I'd like to state for the record that
Mr. McLeod,
the
stop.
court can be.
Stop, Mr. McLeod. If you don't understand it, I'm going to revoke your right to represent yourself and have an attorney represent you because I can't establish that you know what you're doing. So do you know the maximum penalty that you would face?
Your Honor, I've challenged this court's jurisdiction. You haven't established it yet. You said you have a statutory jurisdiction which doesn't exist under the Constitution. I'm trying to figure out where I stand with this. So I can't answer any of your questions until you answer some of mine.
That's not how it works. Are you refusing to answer my question?
No, I'm
Then answer it. Do you understand the maximum penalty that you face for this charge?
So judges who become involved in enforcement of
Mr.
these
McLeod,
statutes.
I have other Mr. McLeod.
Involved agency. What's that?
You know, I understand you want to object to things and you're going to be allowed to object to things. Okay.
Sure.
But we have to do things one step at a time. And I do have other cases today. I'm not going to entertain this for like a whole hour. I've got other cases going on. If you want to dig in your heels and just make this real complicated or real difficult, we could do that. And I can hold you in contempt and you'll go back to a jail cell for a while.
No, Your
and then
Honor,
we'll
I don't wish to be held in contempt. I just wish to exercise my Sixth Amendment right.
That's fine.
And
So
I
before I
cite-
can let you under,
I can
before I
cite
can,
laws, I can cite laws that will show you that the exercise of a right can be converted into a crime. I'm trying to understand the nature and cause of the action against me. You're not clarifying it enough to where I can comprehend it, as you say.
you don't comprehend the maximum penalty that you would face.
I'm not answering any of those questions until you establish that this is a court of the Constitution, has jurisdiction under these jurisdictions.
I established it. I told you. You might think I'm wrong and you can appeal.
There's
it
no
to the
such
Michigan
thing as
Court
a
of Appeals.
statutory jurisdiction.
Mr. McLeod, let me make this simple for you. Do you ever watch, let me make this simple for you.
Sure.
I'm going to ask you this question one more time. One more time.
Okay.
Two things are going to happen. You are either going to answer my question or I'm going to hold you summarily in contempt. And the court officer will bring you to a jail cell and we'll talk about it tomorrow. You understand that?
So.
Mr. McLeod,
Contempt for what?
Mr. McLeod, two things are going to happen. You're going to answer my question or you're going to jail for summary contempt for not complying with the court's request. Do you, Mr. McLeod, understand that the maximum penalty for the charge against you is 3 years in prison and or $1,000 fine?
I don't understand the charges. All right,
Mr. McLeod is in
accept the
contempt of
charges.
court, taken into custody.
Really? That's it. Protecting my rights is what you said last time. Sorry.
Fucking Joe.
This isn't true. You guys are
Follow
following
unconstitutional
You're following
orders.
unlawful orders. It's not constitutional at all.
Mr. McLeod's in contempt, he's sentenced to 1 day. Mr. McLeod, your sentence is 1 day in jail. We'll reconvene tomorrow and get you
This is
notice.
on the Constitution. I did nothing wrong except to question and exercise my rights.
This guy is honestly such a joke. Watching him try to play lawyer when he clearly has no idea what he's doing is just flat out embarrassing. Like, why didn't he just get an attorney? It's not just common sense, it's literally a right. Under the Sixth Amendment, he has the right to legal counsel, and if he can't afford one, the court will appoint one for him. But based on those nice sunglasses he's rocking, money doesn't even seem to be the issue. Instead, he's out here fumbling through his stack of papers, spouting nonsense that holds zero weight in a real courtroom. And you can see the judge trying to give him a fair chance at the beginning. He was patient, spoke slowly, and actually explained things to him. But even the most patient judge has limits, and at some point, they have to shut it down. The wildest part of all this is just how confident this guy looks while making a complete fool of himself. He's sitting there, acting like he's about to crack some kind of legal secret code, when in reality, the law is crystal clear. All he has to do is answer a simple yes or no question. And let's not forget, he's in court for assaulting a police officer, which is a serious charge, often classified as a felony. Judging by the fact that he's facing up to 3 years, it's safe to assume that's the case here. But instead of actually addressing the charge, negotiating a plea deal, or even presenting a defense, he's just wasting everyone's time, including his own. The judge even points out that none of what he's saying applies, but McLeod still sits there, convinced he's making progress, like he's living in his own little world. And as entertaining as it is to watch, there's also something kind of sad about it. This guy clearly isn't mentally stable. Sovereign citizens truly believe they are exempt from laws based on made-up legal theories that have been repeatedly rejected by courts for decades. There are cases dating back to the 1990s where these same arguments have been thrown out, and judges are legally obligated to uphold the actual law, not someone's personal interpretation of it. McLeod is just digging himself into an even deeper hole. A felony conviction for assault could mean losing basic rights like voting or owning a firearm, on top of the fact that he's looking at prison time. But that's going to wrap up my breakdown here. If you guys enjoyed this clip, let me know in the comments, do you think McLeod is actually crazy, or is he just putting on an act? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks so much for watching, and take care.